Welcome to Grid Live Pre-Race NASCAR All-Star Race. Little under an hour away. I'm Joe Sanrier. With me, we have Tanner Smith, editor at the Pit Box Press. Big thank you to our Patreon investors, Colin Michelle, Mark Robin, David, and Matthew for investing in the Grid Network each and every month, helping us on the air. Second time we're on the air, I encourage everyone to check out the F1 recap show. Tanner, myself, and Nicole Fry from Fans of Focus Media recapping the race at Imola. And of course, a big thank you to everyone at the Super Chat. Buy me a coffee, get your name on the leaderboard, and share your opinions. And especially, Tanner, got to hear your opinion. I know tomorrow, Grid Encore, you're all going to be talking more about Indy 500 qualifying reaction, but historic moment. First time in 43 years, a rookie will be leading the field to the green. Robert Schwartzman, Prima. Initial thoughts on this surprise pole winner?
For a team that came into this season without practically any oval experience, has not shown any pace whatsoever at any of the road courses, and has two drivers that aren't exactly affixed to ovals throughout their career, for them to come out and put a rookie on the pole for the Indianapolis 500, I wish I'd put money on it, Joe. I really do. Because could you imagine the payout? Like, no one had this on their bingo card. Like, if they had made the Fast 12, that would have been a great day. But not only did they make the Fast 12, they got both their cars in the show and out of the bottom four. They got Schwartzman into the Fast 6, and here we are. Robert Schwartzman, of all people, for Prima Racing of all teams, on the pole for the Indianapolis 500. I can't believe it. Kobe's got some explaining to do.
And that'll happen tomorrow. I thought we would see something like a Kyle Larson performance. Like, okay, get that second row. That'll be great. What he just did, first time 43 years, just amazing where that team was. And to think, they're uncharted. I would find it very unlikely we'll have more than 27 cars showing up at any other event. But just the thought they could get bumped from the Grand Prix of Detroit or Portland, but they're in the Indy 500 based on speed and they're leading the field. What an amazing day for that team. That could be a first big step, a good solid race. And I think very easily he could claim Rookie of the Year. So it'll be very interesting to see Indy 500. Don't forget our big pre-race show next Sunday, right before the Indianapolis 500. Tune in, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our programs. For that, we might as well add a picture of Robert Schwartzman in there just to make it. I just can't believe it. First time in 43 years. History being made tonight. I'm curious what kind of history could be made with the All-Star race. Let's get into the All-Star race. The first year, Kyle Larson, untouchable. Big win over the field. That was with the old track service since the last time the Cup Series ran there back in 1996. So it was like, wow. The next year, they repave it. Joey Logano on the repaved track was unstoppable. Of course, he had that big tire test. It seemed like nobody had anything for him. The biggest fireworks last year, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Busch, first lap crash. And then after the race, the big fight. Since then, here we are now. This is the second year that track being repaved. Has hosted more events, of course, cars, tours, late models, but different compound tire than what we have with Goodyear. You had the truck race. We already had the heat races. We got a surprise pole sitter, Brad Keselowski, based off the heat races. And we know NASCAR has been doing everything they can to make these cars race better. Goodyear has been trying to do everything they can to bring a softer tire. The heat race, it was also warmer compared to last night. Well, excuse me, tonight. Could this be the most unpredictable All-Star race in North Wilkesboro? Or do you think we'll see the same as the last 2 years? One driver pulling away and potentially dominating this race?
Well, first, let me address something. They have not done everything to make this car run better. let's be honest. But now that that's out of the way, I think this will be a pretty, open and shut case tonight. I don't know who's going to come out with the lead or who's going to, end up taking it to the competition. But if yesterday's races are anything to indicate how tonight's going to go, Corey Heim was successfully holding off a truck with 70 lap fresher tires than him yesterday until one of those trucks absolutely wiped him out on the final lap. So if that's the tire compound that's so aggressive that we're going with this weekend, or even anything remotely like it, I'm a little concerned about the performance tonight. Granted, it seemed that in this afternoon's All-Star Open, 4 tires really just meant nothing, and 2 tires ended up king until the very end when an additional caution for a slide, let's not call that a caution for a spin, but a slide, allowed the Legacy Motor Club cars to come down pit road, among others, and surge through the field in short order. So unless tires are extremely prominent after like 30, 40 laps, I really just don't foresee this race having any sort of zest to it. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I feel like we're in for a snoozer tonight.
For me, I feel the optimism is mainly with Brad Keselowski up towards the front.
A slower car, yes.
The slower car, the potential, maybe in the inside lane, assuming he's going to take the inside, he could hold out Christopher Bell, and then it's just going to be trying to muscle your way towards the front. The tire strategy, I just feel like, I don't know, sometimes, especially with this promoter's caution, that might disrupt the race. I just feel with that, no matter when it's going to get thrown out, unless it's like lap 2, people will be complaining about it. I really feel this race, when they first introduced the format and everything, they really tried to add a lot of bells and whistles. This manufacturer challenge, the promoter's caution. But it's like, how about something different with the car? We've all, of course, know the athletic report about the potential they could have done a run what you brought, but
it wasn't a really run what you brung either. So
exactly,
that was a PR hit by NASCAR at the teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something where it's going to be one of those races, I think. Again, this generation of car, short tracks, I just don't think we get the product we get. I just think the timing of North Wilkesboro coming back, this generation of car, and all the short tracks are just sort of suffering their track product. I just think it's just, unfortunately, poor timing. But it's just one of those deals where we'll see what happens. Earlier today, of course, we had the All-Star Open, where the drivers that did not qualify because they didn't have to win the last year, didn't win an All-Star race recently, and of course, no championships were on the field. Shane Van Gisbergen led the first 53 laps until that caution and pit stops. After the caution, Carson Hocevar was next, your leader. He went on to win. John Hunter Nemechek, as you mentioned, he got second place. He is in the All-Star race. And then Noah Gragson took the fan vote. Some people a little bit surprised by that. I know Gragson in general pretty popular with some fans. But once again, Shane Van Gisbergen is not in the All-Star race. Of course, he didn't get to go in after he won in Chicago. So overall, how disappointing is this for Shane Van Gisbergen to miss out, considering that first half of the race, how he was doing? And is the anger, frustration he showed at Gillian justified?
I must have missed what happened between him and Todd during the broadcast. Do you happen to know what happened? I noticed that they finished near each other, but I didn't see exactly what happened.
I feel it was just one of those hard racing deals. Maybe he felt like I didn't see anything blatant, like, he tried to wreck him or anything, but I just don't understand it. And it was like, okay, I saw that, and what's going on? I'm starting to think a little bit more just a frustration of he had such a winning opportunity, and then it's slipped away because of this caution, and then slipped further away. And I think Gillian was just whoever was racing Shane Van Gisbergen now towards the end would have anger SVG.
Yeah, I think that it sounds like it was a combination of factors that was upsetting to Shane Van Gisbergen. I don't really know what the former Trackhouse 71 team, who currently pits the 88 car, was thinking. Seemed like everybody on pit road got the memo that it was a 2-tire stop, and they were the only team to pick 4, it seemed like. So, yeah, if I were the Kiwi, I'd be pretty upset, frankly. Clearly had a car capable of winning this event, and when they told him not to slow down during the first stint there, they probably should have let him cook. They probably should have let him cook and put on 2 tires instead. Yeah, tremendously disappointing for what I would consider a crowd favorite in Shane Van Gisbergen. That not only does he not make the main event, but he loses out to a guy that can't string a top 10 finish together at a regular track. So, yeah, it's a disappointing result, I think, especially considering that they let Harrison Burton this year enter this race, though he's not a Cup regular, but they would not let SVG do the same thing last year. Find that very interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
I gotta agree with you in that call, especially. I get it. He wasn't a full-time driver when he got the win, but I just feel like you missed out on an international talent who has now committed to run full-time, eventually going to come full-time to Cup Series, not race in the All-Star race. That's a head-scratcher, I guess, as some people would say, and overall, missed opportunity for Shane Van Gisbergen, and just what looked like could be a positive did not go that way, and then, of course, the fan vote did not go his way either once he lost second place. Just very interesting. Carson Hocevar, Spire Motorsports, he seems to be the driver that could, on good days, get the best results for them. He's in the All-Star race. McDowell, Justin Haley are not. You have John Hunter Nemechek. He is in. Eric Jones is out of the race. He did not get through Legacy Motor Club, of course, Toyota. And then the Ford side, Noah Gragson gets in. Front Row Motorsports, but of course, he's the only one in the All-Star race. And I feel we discussed quite a bit about Legacy, Front Row, Motor, essentially Spire as well. They all seem to be that middle of the pack team. They just need to put together a solid race, super speedways especially. Out of those 3, who's likely to have their best finish?
Of those 3, it's probably Hocevar. He was up front the entirety of the All-Star Open and was able to take advantage of that 2-tire pit stop and hold off fierce challenges from Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs, and Bubba Wallace over the final 40 laps to claim the victory. He is rocking a very cool WNBA All-Star livery. Shout out to that league. They had their tip-off this weekend, but anyhow, yeah, I would say of those 3, Hocevar definitely looked like he had the most pace. Noah Gragson finished, I think, 17th of 18 competitors, and that included his teammate Todd Gilliland, who went a lap down during the event and had to get the lucky dog. So, yeah, I think I'm just kind of wearing on the fan vote as a concept. I think it is just not really indicative of who should be in the race, and I think they should just change it to who leads the most laps, because let's be honest, Noah Gragson's not going to do anything out there tonight. He's going to go probably get lapped twice and finish 22nd or whatever last place is. Him and Harrison Burton will probably have a wonderful time competing for 20th place, and I don't see the point in adding a car like that to this event when it's clearly not going to compete.
Yeah, and this is, I recall he was in the All-Star race once before the first year with Legacy Motor Club. That's when he hit the inside pit wall.
Yes, it was.
I
think
mean,
he won the fan vote last year too. He's won it every year that he's been eligible.
Just interesting.
Starting to seem like not a coincidence to me.
Yeah, I really thought maybe SVG would have gotten it, since got very popular after the Chicago win. A lot of international fans, but just wasn't meant to be. That was a big surprise, seeing how the result turned out. And I gotta say, I agree with you. the fan vote, I get it. It's pretty cool to allow the fans to vote for somebody. In the past, we've seen them, they organize, put in somebody like Kyle Petty, Ken Schrader, drivers that were sort of the twilight of the year. But now I feel it has really gone to a driver that has a pattern of, how much longer will this last? I know Dale Earnhardt Jr., if there was a fan vote during this era, he would be getting that fan vote. Chase Elliott got the championship, but if he was for some reason ever in it, because if they don't have the car, they're just going to be putting around back. Doesn't really add value. We got 20 cars in this field, 3 through the vote. Now, of course, the past 2 winners here, as I mentioned, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano. Now, Kyle Larson starting 19th, Joey Logano 4th. Of course, Kyle Larson, Indianapolis 500. Did not participate in the Fast 12 this year compared to last year, where he had to take that helicopter ride. Overall, Joey Logano, he's looking good. 4th place, everything he did last year. Where Kyle Larson, his dominant year, that was a much older pavement. From 19th, can Kyle Larson make a run towards the front?
It's going to be tough sledding. I just feel like with how this track races, from what I've seen over the weekend, outside of the Cars Tour, that was a fantastic event. But the Truck Series saw very little tire wear, and track position and running the right line was more beneficial than anything. So, yeah, I think that if Larson and Cliff Daniels can orchestrate some sort of pit road hijinks where they can get out ahead of some cars and pick some spots off that way, that might be able to help them move forward. But without, throwing us back to the 2000s, but without some sort of an inversion or anything like that, where some of the slower cars or the worst qualifying cars make their way to the front, I just don't really see him having a route to the lead. But that's not to say it can't happen. Obviously, we've seen them come from the back here before, but that was on the old surface with a completely separate tire compound. So I just think that it's more likely that Kyle Larson gets caught up in somebody else's mess in the middle of the pack trying to fight his way forward than it is for him to win. Just on average, that's more likely to happen. But he and Cliff Daniels are used to rising above the averages and making their path toward the front anyway. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't foresee it happening based on the evidence we've seen this weekend, but it would not be completely surprising considering the people we're talking about.
If they make a run towards the front, that would be something I think a lot of people are talking about. That will also give me hope if they could do it. Maybe you could see a Blaney, some of the other drivers a little further back in the top 10, do something, but it's going to be really hard. I think those first few laps will be very crucial for any progress. And then once we get to the longer runs, if there is longer runs, where the field gets spread out, it's just going to be a challenge for everybody. Now, one of the drivers out there, Harrison Burton, who you mentioned, not running full time, but since he won the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona last year, he was eligible. Teamed up with Rick Ware Racing, the number 51, which today the number 51 failed to qualify for the Indy 500 with Jacob Abel. Of course, they used to be a partnership with Dale Coyne. For Harrison Burton, I gotta be honest, his Xfinity Series, he has 1 top 5 finish, 6 top 10 finishes. After 12 races there, currently 10th. What is the end goal of Harrison Burton? What kind of run should he do? Because I feel he could go all out, race super hard, aggressive, but then it may not look good having a driver that's not running full time make a mess, especially if he causes cautions. Or does he run a smart race? Just try to do what he can and try to prove, hey, look, I should get a second chance in the Cup Series.
Running smart races for 3 years got him practically nowhere. So I think if I was Harrison Burton, I'd take this opportunity that I have to run in this all-star event to be as daring and as leading into my impulses as possible. I think that Harrison Burton is not going to have the most premier equipment, though I did hear from a little birdie that is a Penske prepared Rick Ware racing car, so it should be somewhat on the par of a Team Penske race car. But even with that said, yeah, Harrison Burton, the only thing that could probably claw him back into the Cup Series is winning this event. And frankly, I find that very unlikely. But I do think it would go a long way, like it did for Bubba Wallace back in 2019 when he was with Richard Petty Motorsports at the time, to have a great run tonight and show that even amongst the top flight talent of the sport, he can go out there and compete with them if given the right opportunity and equipment. But like I said, Rick Ware Racing entry, probably just going to be putting back there with Noah Gragson in 20th. So, like I said, don't think he should try to have a smart race. I think he should try to go win it. But if he can't win it, then try to finish as high up in the order as possible and do whatever you can to get there.
Yeah, I mean, if he has a good, smart race, I think that would, just try to get up there. But I think, like you said, I think he has to be a little bit on the aggressive side, but at the same time, not too aggressive where I don't think he wants to make a mistake and inadvertently take out somebody, ruin somebody's race. It's just a harsh position he finds himself in overall. And I think at the end of the day, even if the rumors true and there is some Penske help with that, I just don't see them being exactly towards the front for Harrison Burton. Probably just a forgettable night. Now, one of the things I feel a lot of people have not been talking much about, at least from what I've been seeing, sort of forgettable, is this new manufacturer challenge. You got 8 Fords, 5 Toyotas, 10 Chevrolets. Now, ironically, one of each brand advanced from the Open. Plus, we have this contest for the manufacturers. They released it when they also announced a promoter's caution. I feel like it has not really
got no
gained
coverage.
No coverage, no traction. And I get it, especially the super speedways, we talk a lot about the manufacturers. I know we did a lot in Martinsville last year, but not for good reasons. And you got fans, our loyal Chevy fans, loyal Ford fans, loyal Toyota fans. But considering the strength of numbers that goes to Chevrolet, but you got a Ford and a Toyota up front, who do you think will be the favorite to win? Which manufacturer? And do you think there's, seeing the lack of interest, do you think anybody's really taking this manufacturer challenge serious and should it even be brought back next year?
I just feel like it skews way too much for the team with the most cars, like with the manufacturer with the most cars in the race. So I don't think it should have been devised to begin with, but this is just kind of the things you have to expect when Marcus Smith is running a show. So that's just what we have to deal with. But out of those three, I would say that Ford probably has the best chance, though Chevy has the most cars. Ford just has the most drivers that are built for short track racing. Obviously, you have Logano, who dominated this race to the tune of 199 of 200 laps last season. Ryan Blaney's won the All-Star back in 2022 and has shown speed at several short tracks and knows how to manage his tires, which, granted, don't know how much that'll be a factor tonight, but we'll see. But, yeah, I think that Josh Berry as well, got to throw him into that mix. But, yeah, I just think that if I had to pick between those three, the Fords will probably have the most cars up towards the front by the end of the night, whereas Chevy kind of has a lot of high-end and low-end variants that will probably sink them. But Toyota's just got no chance having 5 against 10 against 8. Like, it's not a fair fight for them at all. So, yeah, definitely leaning towards Ford tonight for that.
I'm leaning towards Ford. Maybe Toyota, but as just on those deals of strength in numbers, if we somehow get an unpredictable night of racing crashes, I mean, if you lose 3 Toyotas, well, you're down to 2, and now it looks a lot harder to try to get that. And It is something else. I know the All Star race in general. I think this year All Star events across professional motorsport has been sort of losing that appeal, losing that big hype. Really, the NHL cracked the code, as people said, with the Frozen Four or the Final Four. I forgot how they called it, between United States, Canada, Iceland, Sweden. NASCAR, okay, they tried this option, they tried that option. This year, the manufacturer battle, I'm just not seeing it. The format changes and the way the track's been progressing at North Wilkesboro with this car, I just feel like this is just not the way it should look. And I'm just really curious, like, okay, after tonight, what's going to be the new future of the All Star race? Is it going to be back to Wilkesboro for a fourth year? I would highly doubt that. We know there's potential changes. I'm just really curious to see what will happen. I just sort of wish just return to the basics, 3 heats, invert the field in 1 heat like we saw in the old Winston Select, then a 10-lap dash. I just sometimes think we're just overthinking what will be a good product, and just sometimes just think it falls flat for the All-Star event. With that said, now it's time for pick a winner, another pick a winner. This time, NASCAR Cup Series at North Wilkesboro, the All-Star race. Of course, no grid ranking points on the line, but pick a winner points, plenty of them. Tanner, starting with you, who do you have for pick a winner?
I know I just talked Ford up a bunch, but I am actually going with a Toyota for tonight. I think Christopher Bell is going to come out on top because he will have the discipline and race car underneath him to go out there and win. I think it's going to take a lot of discipline to just run the high line a certain kind of way tonight, and he's going to be able to do it. So I definitely look for the 20 car to win this race tonight, but if not him, it'll probably be the 6 car.
A 6 car is looking good, especially knowing how passing could be much of a challenge. In the chat room, Adam's going with William Byron. I don't know. William Byron, let's see what he does. It could be his night. I'm thinking I'm going with a Toyota. I think I'm going to go with Christopher Bell. He's already starting up towards the front. The pit crew, they know what they're doing. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake as SVG's pit crew. Just a matter of putting together a good race and getting the All-Star race win. So I encourage everyone, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our programs this week, because tomorrow, Grid Encore, Tanner, you're going to be on there with Brandon, and Kobe will be making a appearance. Plenty to talk about with the Indianapolis 500 recap. Plus, of course, the Truck Series will recap that NASCAR Cup Series All-Star race tomorrow. Then Grid tonight, your weekly motorsports news program every Wednesday. Then we have our preview for the Coca-Cola 600, Women in Motorsports, then F1 pre-race Saturday, and then Sunday, once again, the Indianapolis 500 pre-race before the Indy 500. You can go to our YouTube channel, bookmark it so you don't miss that special program we do each and every year for you, the viewers. And we thank everyone for tuning in, especially our Patreon investors for investing in us, Colin, Michelle, Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew, for investing in the Grid Network each and every month through Patreon. Link in the video description. You can also do Buy Me Coffee, YouTube Super Chat. We'll thank you on the air. And the simplest way, as I said, subscribe, like, hit the bell icon, and follow us across social media at Grid Network TV, gridnetworktv.com, weekly NASCAR recaps. I know Isha Bajwa has done a great job with the Formula One Academy recaps, plus highlights from our videos as well, too. And we'll be putting up some highlights this week on our YouTube channel. For Tanner, I'm Joe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the races.